Indonesia. Vast, mysterious, unexplored. Home to 200 million people. For sheer size, energy and diversity, Indonesia is in a class of its own. Of all its 17,000 islands, Sulawesi is the most magical. Isolated by deep ocean trenches, it is home to more unique species than any place on Earth.
This is the biggest frog I've ever seen. It's absolutely amazing.
But Sulawesi is under threat.
When you're sitting in Europe in your armchair watching a natural history programme and thinking, I'd like to make a difference, there is a way you can make a real difference. You can come out and join a project like this one and actually help scientists, because without the volunteers this whole project wouldn't run.
Operation Wallacea is trying to save the rainforests and coral reefs of Sulawesi. Run by scientists, it relies on the hundreds of volunteers who travel here every year. They dive on the coral reefs off the paradise island of Hoga, and they live with the Bau-Bau sea gypsies of Sampala village. In this episode, our volunteers get into house building, jungle style.
I think it's the best here though, of course.
And nature serves up a tasty treat.
It's not every day you suck out the bum.
The volunteers have been undergoing extensive jungle training since they arrived from the UK 3 days ago. They've got lost, soaked in a rainstorm, and some have fainted in the punishing heat. But they've got to acclimatise in order to do the conservation work which brought them here.
We thought we'd better get this started before we sort of start the shelter, because we're going to need something going.
Well, I managed to do the fire today. I was quite proud of myself, even though it started raining.
Rakban, how come you never slip and you wear trainers and flip-flops? I had a good night's sleep last night, 10 hours or something like that. So yeah, I'm feeling a lot better today, not quite as naughty. If I have another good night's sleep tonight, then yeah, I'll be happy again. So yeah, Indonesia's a lot brighter place when you're revitalised.
More rain is forecast, so the volunteers need to build better shelters before it gets dark.
It's nice to have a bit of rain because that does give you an idea of what it could be like, and also an idea of how waterproof your shelters have got to be. So you've all got your sites, yeah, everyone's got a site for their camp. Some of you will need to put in more stakes. You've got enough... Not that sort of stake, I'm afraid. Just the wooden stakes.
Building a shelter, I think, was one of the most important things we learnt out there. I think if anybody ever got lost in the jungle, that's for survival anyway. That's the first thing to do, is to, work out how you're going to shield yourself from the elements.
Well, hopefully it won't rain. If it does, just try and keep warm. You've all got fireplaces now, so that's quite good. Keep them covered, just in case. You've got until dark, really. That's about 5 hours. So, go for it.
For the ultimate in love-hate relationships, meet rattan. The locals have built shelters from it for centuries. We in the West might enjoy relaxing in a rattan sun lounger. After today, however, our volunteers will forever associate this hideously spiky weed with pain. It's a bit like building a Wendy house out of prickly rose bushes. Each group will have to gather at least 200 rattan leaves to make the walls and roof.
You've got to start with the base. That team were trying to start with the roof, which I was like, well, good on but you have to get the base so you can stand on something to actually put the roof up. So they've worked that out now, and it's just a process. I mean, nobody's ever done this before, so it's to be expected that it takes a long time. But we know it works, and that's the thing. They can trust us that it's actually going to work.
To complete her roof, Kay will need another 80 like this one. But progress is slow.
What's it like working with rattan?
hate it. Cut to pieces, it really hurts. Quite nice hacking it with this to get it back.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a shock actually when we go back and
You're like, oh my god, my hair!
I'm a student at Warwick University studying biological sciences. I live in Croydon. Always lived in the same place, haven't moved about too much. I've only ever been to Europe before, never really travelled, so coming out here has been the first big, holiday away really.
Many in the group had to resort to fundraising to find the £3,000 for this trip. Gareth made £200 from a 7-legged sponsored walk.
We've decreased the amount of tropical rainforest that's on our planet drastically in the past 6 years or something. I want to see what's there before it all vanishes away.
Dilman Leach is following in the footsteps of his uncle, who runs an outdoor adventure centre in Borneo.
The first time I left Jersey was I went on a boat to France, and for some reason I thought that Jersey was like the entire planet, and that it was just because that's where I lived. You couldn't see anything else apart from that, the sea around it and stuff. I just I always thought everything was just there. I didn't realise you could go across the sea, and I don't know. I was just very naive.
Rachel seems to be quite good at that.
my delegated job. Oh my god, that really hurt.
I'm making string at the moment. And it's actually much more therapeutic than folding rattan, which is why I've bagsy the job. Finally getting use of my penknife. Had it for years. Finally does something useful.
Emma's string is just what former accountant Martin is looking for.
We're putting the rattan on the roof to make a really waterproof shelter for this evening. You overlap it quite a long way, so you're only moving up a couple of inches at a time, as you can see, so it gets really white, watertight. There shouldn't be any daylight showing through underneath with a bit of luck. And hopefully we'll all be nice and warm and dry tonight. All 5 of us are going to be sleeping under here tonight, so I just hope no one farts in bed. We don't know each other at all, and there's 2 girlies, 3 boys, so it could be interesting.
Andy says he snores and Martin says he smells, so it might be quite an experience. I'm hoping to be on the end, maybe, away from everyone.
I think the most rewarding bit is the fact that we're all in a small group working for each other. When one person had a problem, which I more than often did, someone else would come along and sort of help me out, or sort of try and get me through it, and I'd do the same for other people if we had a because I was designated group leader, against my will, I'd like to add. At one point there was a bit of a contretemps between 2 of the members of my group, so I kind of thought it was my responsibility, so I had a bit of a word with both people and made up. That was quite good, quite rewarding experience for me, that. But just everyone working together, I think, really added to the atmosphere. It made it very worthwhile.
To actually sleep in something that you've built, and especially, well, even if it's waterproof or not, if it's waterproof, great, you've achieved something. If it's not, then it's something to laugh about, because in the night all the water's dripping down and you're trying to work out methods in the dark to stop it falling on you. So yeah, everyone has a good experience.
Oh, good night.
It's getting dark. This is when we'll find out if Andy snores
Yeah, they're a bit close
and whether
together.
Martin has got smelly feet.
You can't put your shoulders in there, can you? Mark? Is he there? No.
Are you nervous about things falling from the roof?
No, I trust the people that put it up. It should be okay. We've got the nets up anyway, they've got a roof bit on them, so they shouldn't let anything fall on us.
We've got about 5-6 hours in today, and it was hard work, and everyone worked together, and we've come up with this really, really nice shelter. Well, I think it's really, really nice anyway. I'm not quite sure what everyone else thinks. I think it's the best here, though, of course. So yeah, it's been a great experience.
What they don't know is that trees have a habit of falling on camps like these.
Okay, 3 falling down.
Oh my god. Was that thunder? Or a tree?
In a moment, why does the camp look like a battlefield?
Hot. Everyone's a critic when it comes to wounds, aren't they?
And what's wrong with Martin's waterworks?
I've just peed in the water, by the way.
Find out after the break. Deep in the jungle, our group of conservationists is adjusting to life in an Indonesian rainforest. During the night, no rain, and more importantly, no trees, have fallen on the camp. But setting up home has not been trouble-free.
Ages ago.
It was very interesting having the rattan roof and everything, because there's more bugs around. I didn't see that well, really, unfortunately. I preferred the hammocks.
I think getting up early, I'm not finding that hard anymore. I'm practically awake by the time the alarm goes off anyway. I'm all in bed by about 9:30 because it gets dark at 6, so you expect it to be so much later. So everyone's kind of, you know, ready to drop off. Everyone's falling asleep by the fire, so your sleeping pattern's completely changed.
Matt has started the day with a burnt hand.
I think I've singed all my thumb and the bit that's between the thumb and the forefinger. I've been here for about 20 minutes just trying to cool it down. It's got quite a nice little stream going through here.
After 4 days in the jungle, the injury list is mounting. Karen Lee has been Operation Wallacea's resident nurse for the past 2 years.
They get up first thing in the morning, still a little bit sleepy. It's generally when accidents happen. Everybody lights their own fires, there's boiling water. That's always a hazard. Sometimes people spill their water when it's boiled or touching hot rocks, not thinking.
Even Catherine, one of the organisers, is in the wars.
Rattan is, I'm sure everybody hates rattan at the moment, can cut people to pieces.
I'm quite proud of everything we've done here, but the scratches especially, because it means that we've done something. I might even take some photos later and show them to my parents so they can put them up on the wall. Yeah, because you don't get that many scratches like this at home unless you're wrestling in the roses or something.
In hospital I'm working generally with, well, all of the time working with very sick people, and it's quite nice to come to an environment like this where you're working with initially healthy people. You know, they're all fit and well when they get here, and then you're just dealing with things that happen along the way.
Everyone's a critic when it comes to wounds, aren't they? just because we're the real heroes, you don't go hamming it up with giant plasters. We just let it bleed, keeping it real in the forest.
Soldiering on.
When I grow up, Dan, I want to be like you.
Thanks for that.
This was the sorry state of Jennifer Trendle on the trek to Camp 2. So how's she feeling now?
A lot better today, actually. I kind of got up this morning, I was feeling a bit, but as like the day went on, I've been like, wow, I've been running up and down the hills, so it's cool. Full recovery.
After days of eating stodgy porridge and limp noodles, the volunteers are given the opportunity to develop their cookery skills. Once it's popped in the fire, Paul's mud egg should be ready in about 30 minutes.
Is it panas?
Panas sekali. What does that mean?
Whoa, hot!
Jennifer hopes that her Jungle Deluxe non-stick frying pan will make washing up a thing of the past. But this jungle fry-up comes with its own problems.
Right, I'm gonna have to rethink my frying pan. That's not done, is it?
No, I'd cook it a bit more with the yolk.
Can't they? It's too thick.
It's a bit difficult to unwrap.
Yeah, that's only because I burnt the leaves and it just sort of stuck to the bottom of the egg. So, but it's alright once you get there. Tastes quite good. There we go. Not bad. Not bad at all.
A group of volunteers go off with Dedi in search of the real jungle juice. Rattan may be the most vicious weed in Indonesia, but when it comes to jungle survival, it is also the most versatile.
So when you drink, do not touch your tongues, or don't touch this. Just it tastes different, yeah?
That's good.
My God.
Why didn't you tell us this at the start? So then I have to drink that smoke flavoured tea. Yeah. Bet they've been going home and laughing. Watching us from afar with binoculars. Laughing while we've all had diarrhoea.
Martin has discovered a local insect delicacy.
Ants. Can you see if there's any ants around here? They are very, very tasty. There's one. Yeah, it's not every day you suck an ant's bum. It's supposed to give you loads of sugar to be, God. It's very tasty. I could market these.
The mud eggs are ready. It makes a welcome change from Indonesian pot noodles. But not everyone is happy.
I shouldn't eat that, should I? It's not cooked.
After earlier, when I burnt it on the stone, Karen, the nurse, has put a nice gauze on it and a bit of cream to soothe it and everything, so it's not too bad at the moment. Still stinging a bit, but it's better than it was. Move it alright as well, which is going to help. It's already got clay all over it, which is just typical from this bloody camp. It's everywhere. I've heard you can't actually get all the clay off, and I've got it all down my trousers. It's not going to come off at all.
4 days of jungle training are almost over. But a set of fresh challenges is about to confront our band of volunteers. When they come back to the Lambusanga Forest Reserve, it will be to help the Operation Wallacea scientists in important conservation research.
We have students who add significantly to the amount of data that's being gathered for particular groups. Things like the reptile surveys. It's not all glamour, picking snakes and lizards and so forth up. You've got a lot of hard work digging pitfall traps and setting up fences in order that the animals fall in there. All that work is absolutely necessary, and volunteers have been doing that. And then of course they learn when the expert is there to tell them what lizards and what snakes and what frogs and so forth they found.
It's been good for me as well, just to learn how to deal with people I wouldn't normally associate with simply through my own prejudice or whatever. Hopefully it'll make me a better person.
For the first time in 4 days, the volunteers climb above the tree canopy into the sunlight.
Everyone's completely filthy and scratched to pieces, and bits of foot are falling off and stuff, but I think everyone's enjoyed it. It's been really good.
I feel that I myself have matured quite a lot. I've met so many new types of people here. You go through so many experiences and you take away with you far more than what you came with. I haven't just come here and learned how to survive in the jungle, I've learned how to survive full stop.
So we try not to build it up too much. We just say, you know, it's a little pool in a river, because that's all it is, but to them it's like, running water!
was gorgeous, having a cigar in the water. It must be in heaven, you know what I mean?
Could almost be in a bath at home now, I reckon.
I'm never going to get these clean, that's for sure. Give it up now.
I've just peed in the water, by the way.
It really was the ultimate team building exercise. It's one of those things you imagine sort of companies sending groups on to, you know, try and get them to work as a team. It was, you
Good
had
for the
to.
CV.
Unfortunately, hard graft is never far away. Every pot and pan must be scrubbed clean, ready for the next batch of brand new volunteers.
Not as good as fairy, of course, on your hands, but...
This was a good one. This was very enjoyable. Few accidents, but it happens, and Karen's there, which is why Karen's there. And everyone learned a lot. You know, it was hard for some people, it was easy for others. I think everyone got a lot out of it.
The ragged army of volunteers enters the village of Watamba. From here, they'll go on to the Jungle Research Centre at La Bunda Bundo, where the real conservation work begins.
I mean, you're going to still have foot rot, you're still going to get cut with rattan and get filthy dirty, but it just becomes second nature as opposed to being, it's all like, oh well, it's life.
Ha 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 ha!